Greetings to everyone out there in the No DQ galaxy. Welcome to No DQ&A live here on the No DQ YouTube channel, youtube.com/AaronRift No DQ. Today I will be answering your questions via twitter.com/AaronRift. Also, I will be answering your questions via Super Chat. Shout out to Shanti, who is the current reigning and defending No DQ Super Chat champion. You could send in any Super Chat amount to get a question answered. However, $5 or more will get you the No DQ Super Chat Championship. And just off the bat here, Ken, terminated by Google, sent in the first Super Chat donation. So Ken, thank you for that. And we'll say you defeat Shanti via the Scorpion Death Drop from Sting. Actually, he said he's going to hit a no-hands moonsault on Shanti, so scratch that. No-hands moonsault on Shanti to become a 32-time champion. And he says, did you see that kid who wrestled Jericho with his hands tied behind his back? Darby Allin. Yes, that was quite the impressive move by him, and I did mention that on my No DQ AEW Dynamite recap video. So if you guys have not checked that out, go watch it. Overall, I thought it was a really solid match. I did give my thoughts on the idea that maybe Jericho did not need the help from Jake Hager to win the match, but it was still cool to see Darby Allin bust out that moonsault with his hands tied behind his back. Now, I am going to be taking Skype calls today. If you are calling in for the first time, please email me, nodqrift@gmail.com. so I can make sure that you are screened properly, because I did have some issues with people that were called. Hello, Ivan.
Yeah, it's me. What's up?
How's it going, Ivan?
Oh, nothing much, man. How's it going with you?
Going well. So you're the first caller tonight. What's on your mind?
Oh, nothing much, man. I'm just pushing with the WWE product. How about you?
I'm trying to push through as best as I can, you know. I'm glad AEW is around because it's given me something else to talk about and given fans something else, some kind of alternative.
Yeah. So, what do you think about Bruce Prichard being hired by WWE towards Smackdown?
Bruce Prichard, I don't really think it's going to make any difference whatsoever. I think it's going to be more the same. Now, he has been a fixture in WWE for a very long time, but with that being said, it's still Vince's company, and he's not exactly a young guy. So I think what's more critical to WWE's future is having somebody youthful running the creative aspect of the television. I think Bruce Prichard, yeah, he might have some good old school ideas, but we need to see something different. I think we need to see the WWE product evolve. So that's my take on Bruce Prichard. I really don't think it's going to amount to anything positive in the long run. I think it's going to be more of the same, if anything.
Okay, do you think Paul Heyman will be next?
Paul Heyman to be fired?
Yeah.
No, I don't think he'll be fired, because I feel like he's been there for so long, and he's been Brock Lesnar's manager. I don't see Paul Heyman going anywhere. I think Paul Heyman will be around for the long haul. He might not be creatively involved forever, but I always think he'll be there in WWE. Like I said with Eric Bischoff was an outsider being brought in. Paul Heyman's been there for many years, so I don't see Heyman going anywhere. Now, creatively, that could definitely change with that role, but we'll see. I mean, I think people still consider Paul Heyman to be more with it than Eric Bischoff, at least. Anyways, Ivan, thank you for your call. Anything you would like to plug or promote? Hey, everybody, my apologies for that. I was having some technical difficulties. Back now, everything should be good now for the duration of the video. So again, I apologize for the technical issues there. Bound to happen when we're live. Psycho Jet Black with a $5 super chat. Psycho Jet Black says, win via pocket sand to the eyes. Interesting. What are the chances that Vince Russo would come back to help WWE write for SmackDown? Highly unlikely in all likelihood. I think it's very unlikely that Vince Russo ever comes back to WWE. Again, I think WWE needs some youth, somebody young who has some fresh ideas, something we haven't seen before. With Russo, I think that he only knows the stuff that he did 20 years ago. And I don't think WWE is going to bring him back anyways. You know, he's been gone for 20 years, and it's not like Bruce Pritchard, who's been Vince's right-hand man for a very long period of time. All right, we got Colin Andrew on the line. Colin, how's it going?
What's up, boss man? How's it going?
Doing good here. Had a few technical difficulties. I'm not sure if you have my video on now. Am I unfrozen? Do you know by any chance?
I had to stop the video so I can call in. I'm at work, so I couldn't do the dual screen like I normally do.
Okay. So anyways, what's on your mind?
Well, last night, the boys and I, Stephen, Jerry, and Chris Willis, did a little fantasy draft of our own. And I just wanted to touch base a little bit of how would you feel if they switched Brock Lesnar and Rollins, if the Universal title would have went to SmackDown and Brock would have came over to Monday Night Raw.
Well, I'm fine with Brock Lesnar being on SmackDown just because it's at least something different. And the Universal title has been on ice for so long with Brock Lesnar's reigns, you know, with it not being part of Monday Night Raw. Now we get the WWE title not being around, so at least the Universal title has a chance to be defended every week and that sort of thing. So I'm okay with it. I mean, ideally, I would not have the championship on Brock Lesnar, period. But if they're going to do it, you might as well shake it up a little bit and have him win the WWE title. So I'm okay with it.
Yeah. Well, I'm just saying, like, because the Universal Championship has been on Monday Night Raw since its creation. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I just think it'd just be a nice change of pace to see the Universal title over on SmackDown.
Yeah, maybe if you switch the championships, and there's always an opportunity to do that down the line. I'm still the fan of merging the championships and just having one world champion for the men, one for the women, and that sort of thing.
Oh, me too, all day.
Just because I think there's too many championships as it is, and it's overkill in my opinion.
Exactly, and then it'd get more time to focus on the U.S. and the Intercontinental Championships like they used to be back when we were kids.
Yeah, exactly. Those championships are barely defended on the pay-per-views. And I'm also a fan of having every championship defended on every pay-per-view. You know, the championship should be important. Put it on the pay-per-views, you know? But then when you have like six championships, you know, then you already have that card filled out. So if you narrow it down to 3 or 4, then you have breathing room for other matches.
Yep, absolutely. Absolutely. So,
all right. Well, thank you.
Maybe down the line they'll get it together and, you know, do some unification matches because I know 3 right off the rip. So.
All right. Well, thank you so much for the call, Colin.
Hey.
Anything you would like to plug or promote?
Yeah. Follow me on Twitter at NoDQ, Colin Andrew. Follow my YouTube page at The Cleaver, Colin Andrew. And keep supporting NoDQ.com. Someone go buy some merch today. So.
Yeah, absolutely. NoDQ.com/merch. All right. Take care, Colin. I appreciate the call.
All right.
All right, take it easy.
Buddy. Take care, buddy.
All right, bye.
Bye.
All right, that was Colin Andrews. So thank you for that, Colin. I do appreciate it. And I am going to try and get to everyone's calls. I had a few people calling when I was having the technical difficulties. Okay, Big Shrimp was trying to call in, so let's get him on here. Big Shrimp, how's it going? And sorry about earlier.
No, it's fine, my man. How you doing?
I'm doing well. I just had that little technical snafu there for a few moments, and I think you were trying to call me when that was all going down. And just to everybody out there, if you try to call and I don't answer, just keep trying because sometimes I have other people on the line and sometimes there's some kind of technical issue. I mean, it would not be a live video without some sort of problem. Anyways, what's on your mind, Big Shrimp?
So I had a question. A friend of mine and I were talking, and we were talking about how, you know, it's easy to get offended from a business standpoint in the wrestling business. Different people do different things to get under people's skin. And we were talking about Jericho and Cody, who would Vince consider to be the biggest threat or the biggest disrespect to leaving the company or to doing their own thing. And I said, I think it would be Cody. Cody would be the one that burnt the bridge because he's helped establish a new company. And then my friend said he thought it would be Jericho because Jericho, instead of going back to the WWE after New Japan, he's working on U.S. soil for another company that was really a nothing company, but he helped to legitimize it because of
Right.
his name value.
Well,
So I was wondering, what do you think? Who do you think Vince, if he were pissed off at one of the two, who would he be most upset by?
I think they are a little bit different. I think with Chris Jericho, maybe him because he went out there and said he would not work for a wrestling promotion in the United States that wasn't WWE, and he pretty much went back on that. So I could see Vince maybe feeling betrayed by that. With Cody, I think maybe Vince just underestimated Cody's value. They gave him the Stardust gimmick, and they were never really going to push him at a high level. And then he left and became a bigger star and ended up starting up AEW and, really came into his own. I just think maybe Vince underestimated him. But with Jericho, I mean, we all knew Jericho was a top tier guy, and he was there in WWE for a really long time also. And I think after a while, like, you associate Chris Jericho as a WWE guy because he had been there for so many years. So I'd probably say Jericho, but, I would think Vince probably takes both of those guys leaving personally and, feels like, they're betraying him, working for another company and trying to compete with him and that sort of thing. So yeah, I would probably go with Jericho, but I could see both.
That makes a lot of sense. Yeah, I agree.
I mean, that's definitely an interesting topic for sure. What do you guys think in the chat room? Let us know.
That'd be a good question for see what people think.
Yeah, I could put up a poll.
Either way, to be honest.
All right. Well, thank you so much for the call, Big Shrimp. Anything you would like to plug or promote?
Sure. So I have a podcast called Big Shrimp Radio, interviewing singers, songwriters, MMA fighters, and pro wrestlers. I've had Savio Vega, Al Snow, Selena De La Renta from MLW. I'm having a couple other people from MLW and the NWA on soon. So check that out on Apple, Google, Spotify, SoundCloud, and iHeartRadio. And follow me on Instagram at big_shrimp_radio.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Big Shrimp. I really do appreciate it. Have a good rest of your day.
You too. Thank you, buddy.
All right. Take care. All right, that was Big Shrimp. DJ Mike EQ with a $5 super chat. So DJ Mike, brand new champion. He says via the package POW driver, he defeats the former champion Psycho Jet Black, and he says, and new super chat champion for the first time. All right, so congratulations, DJ Mike, first time champion. Says Mike EQ, new champion for the first time, and he says, by the way, can I call in if I never did before? Absolutely. NoDQRift@gmail.com is the address for Skype if you would like to call in. I will be taking calls here for a little bit. And Jeremy said he sent in a tweet. I will check that out here shortly. Actually, let me get to some of these questions I have from Twitter. This first one comes from Matt, Matte. He says, hello, Aaron. What, in your opinion, was the best WCW pay-per-view before, after, and under Eric Bischoff? Thank you and have a great night. Greetings from Sweden. All right, maybe you guys in the chat room could give me some ideas about this. I'm going to try to go based off of my memory. Before Bischoff started running WCW, which I believe was towards the end of '93, I'd have to say the 1989 Great American Bash was a really strong pay-per-view. That one was, from what I remember, great wrestling from start to finish. During Bischoff, there's several choices. I really like one of the first ones, which was Starrcade '93 with Ric Flair challenging Vader. Spring Stampede '94 was a hell of a show. You had the Ric Flair, Ricky Steamboat rematch. You had Cactus Jack and Max Payne against the Nasty Boys. One of my all-time favorite street fight matches. Great American Bash '96 was a really good one. I'm trying to think of after Bischoff, which would be, from the Russo era to the end of WCW. Most of those pay-per-views were just terrible. So that's a really tough one to answer. Keith Johnson says 2000 Fall Brawl. Yeah, I mean, those pay-per-views for the most part were not good. And it's hard to think of a good WCW 2000 pay-per-view. Maybe Fall Brawl would have been the best of the bunch, but even that I don't think was too great. All right, Christopher Mace is calling in. Chris, how's it going?
It's going good. How you doing today?
I'm doing very well, thank you. So what's on your mind?
Here, I got an interesting question for you. I know it's not about WWE or AEW, but it's actually about Impact. So my question is this. I know you haven't really watched Impact recently, but with Tessa Blanchard possibly having a chance to win the X Division Championship at Bound for Glory tonight, do you see her, if she does win that title, actually cashing it in and using option C to cash it in and challenge if Sami Callihan is able to win the Impact World title tonight? Do you see her trying to cash it in to set up a match where she could possibly become the first world champion in Impact history as a woman?
I could definitely see that happen. I know that they've been feuding and they've been allies over the past several months. I have seen some clips. I could see them doing that for a publicity stunt, just to get people to say, hey, Impact Wrestling is doing the first ever women's world champion to hold a men's championship, that sort of thing. So I would not rule it out that they could do something like that. And she seems to be one of the rising stars in the industry right now, and maybe the hottest act, if you want to call that, in Impact Wrestling right now. I still believe if a tree falls down in the woods and nobody hears it, it really doesn't make a sound. But, I think that people are paying a lot of attention to her in the industry. And if that doesn't happen, I could see her ending up in WWE or AEW at some point. But, I could definitely see Impact doing something like that for sure.
Yeah, but do you see the possibility of her actually winning the world title is what I'm curious about. Would they actually pull that trigger and give her the world title and try to get a bunch of buzz around the company?
Absolutely.
Look, we were the first ones that ever put a world title on a woman, even though Lucha Underground did with Sexy Star for I think it was less than a day or something.
Yeah, I mean, that is true. I forgot about that Lucha Underground did that. Oh, wow, that's loud. I could see her winning the title and Impact doing anything to try and get some buzz and get people talking about them. So we'll see what happens with that. Anyways, Chris, thank you so much for the call. Anything you would like to plug or promote?
Yeah, sure. Y'all can check out my YouTube channel, The Holiday Christopher Mace. I started doing that about a little over a month ago. I'm honored and privileged. I had 63 people subscribe to it so far. I'm just having fun talking about wrestling in general. And always support the NX team. Like I said, you can find their stuff on my wrestling content list on my YouTube channel, and you can find all their newest episodes. And always support NoDQ.com, like I said, because y'all are a lot of reason that we all listen to wrestling news. And between you and Jeff Meacham, y'all are the reason a lot of us do this stuff nowadays and talk about wrestling, have fun interacting. So I appreciate everything y'all do.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Chris. I really do appreciate it.
And y'all have a good one.
All right. Thank you. Take care, Chris. All right, bye. All right, that was Christopher Mace. Let me get back to the Twitter questions here. I got this one from Martin. Martin says, for the Q&A stream this weekend, what is your favorite WWE Raw theme song of all time and why? And he says he is from the state of California. Well, there you go. I'm a native California person myself. Regarding my favorite Raw theme song, probably Thorn in Your Eye, or the one that they used from 98 to 2001. I'm not sure what the name of the song is, but it was basically the same song, just a bit of a remix of it. I do like the Union Underground's song that they used from 2002 to 2005, I believe. Papa Roach was pretty good. I like that one. I actually did like the Nickelback song. I know not everybody likes Nickelback, but I just find it funny that a song about excessive drinking was the Raw theme song when they went PG. I just found that to be hilarious. And then the more recent ones, not quite as much. But yeah, I'm old school, so I got to go with the old Thorn in Your Eye theme song. Thank you for the question, Martin. And then Zane Johnson. Actually, we got Calvin Bowman calling in. So let's take this call from Calvin. I'll go back and forth here with the calls and then go back to the Twitter questions. Hi, Calvin. How's it going?
Pretty good.
So what's on your mind, my friend?
I have a WWE question.
All right, go for it.
Do you think that that Brock Lesnar will lose the WWE Championship, and do you think that that would be what's that guy's name?
Cain Velasquez. You think you're asking me if I think he's going to lose it to Cain?
Yes.
I would be really surprised if Cain Velasquez won the title in his first match. I just don't think that would go over well with a lot of people, that this outsider comes in and beats Brock in his first match. I'd rather see Cain lose and then maybe try to get another match with Brock at some point and earn his stripes, so to speak, in WWE, have him beat some other guys and then get one more match with Brock. And since Cain, they've made a big deal out of Cain beating Brock, Brock could get his win back, and then you could set up the third match like at WrestleMania. You know, Brock won one, Cain won one, and now they're going to have this final match at WrestleMania. So I would have Brock beat him. I think Cain winning would not go over well with a lot of people. So that's just my take on it. Thank you so much for the question, Calvin. Anything you would like to plug or promote?
Just Facebook.com/CalvinBowman1, and I have one more question.
Sure, go for
it. What was your favorite all-time match from the 1998 Royal Rumble?
The 98 Rumble, probably just the Rumble match. I don't remember. Well, you know what? Probably Shawn Michaels and Undertaker, now that I'm thinking about it. The casket match I thought was really solid. Not quite as good as Hell in a Cell, of course, and I think Hell in a Cell is overshadowing that match, but I actually thought it was really good. Of course, there's the big back bump that Shawn took on the casket, which led to him having to take a 4-year hiatus from wrestling. But I liked that match, and even though it was predictable, Kane coming out there and setting the casket on fire and all that, I thought it was really cool. So I'd go with that, but of course the Rumble was fun with Austin winning it and Mick Foley coming out with the 3 faces of Foley. Overall, just a solid pay-per-view. All right, Calvin, thank you so much for the call. I do appreciate it, and have a great day, my friend.
You too.
All right, take it easy. All right, that was Calvin Bowman calling in. Let me get back to these Twitter questions. The one from Zane Johnson. He says, "Hey, Aaron, what is the pace of NXT? Why is the pace of NXT matches so much more faster and exciting than those on the main roster? If you think it's a Triple H call, is this the style of the future on the main roster?" All right, so here's why you don't see all the main roster matches being fast-paced and whatnot. WWE likes to save all that for the main event matches. In NXT, it doesn't really matter. Everyone's just going out there and, putting on the best performances possible. But I think on the main roster, guys are holding back because you don't want the undercard guys outshining the main event talent. You don't want all these great matches and then the guys in the main event have to follow that. You want to save all the cool stuff for the main event matches. So that's why I think that's the way it is on the main roster. And I don't know if Triple H would change things up, but I think the general thought process is you start off the show, with a pretty hot opener, but you slowly build up, and then the main event is where you have all the bells and whistles and you go all out and tear the house down. I just think that's the general thought process. But with NXT, they don't really follow it quite as much just because it's NXT and, Vince lets Triple H do whatever. And, they're not really concerned with what has been the tradition for many years in wrestling. And that's to have your undercard slowly build up to the main event. And the main event's the match that has all the gimmicks and whatnot. But thank you for that question, Zane. And Keith Johnson with a $2 super chat says, "Aaron, why doesn't AEW use more video packages or promos?" That's a good question. Again, I think that AEW is in this developmental process where they're trying to do different things. And like I speculated this past week, I think the show on Wednesday was really designed to try and put on a better wrestling show than NXT. I think they all wanted to show the world that AEW can put on a better quality wrestling show than NXT, because the first 2 weeks people were like, well, NXT's putting out better wrestling, but AEW's got more of the sports entertainment. And I don't think AEW wants to be known as a sports entertainment company. I think they want people to see their brand as heavy on the wrestling and less on the sports entertainment stuff. But I think it needs a balance, just like WWE. I mean, I think it's important for AEW to be different, but at the same time, there should be a balance. You know, you got your wrestling, but I also want some compelling storylines and character development and promos and all that stuff. So I do think that it's important for both shows to have a healthy balance. And AEW, of course, I think it's important for them to have something different from WWE, but at the same time, have as much variety as possible. TGS says, can I call in? Yes, it's a call in. Anybody can call in. NoDQRift@gmail.com is the Skype address, but unless you've been properly screened, I may not answer your call. So again, email me, NoDQRift@gmail.com if you have not called in before, or NoDQMISC@gmail.com. Either one works. And I got this question here from Mr. Yuck. Mr. Yuck says, what impact, pun intended, may Johnny Nitro have in WWE, and which brand do you think would fit him the best? That's an interesting question. I'm not sure what Johnny Nitro could bring to the table other than just more great wrestling matches. There's a lot of new guys for him to work with. I think that you could put him in there with the Seth Rollins. You could put him in there with a whole big group of people, really. So I think if anything, it would just help out. It would help out, freshen things up a little bit and whatnot. All right, we got DJ calling in. DJ, how's it going?
What's up, Aaron? Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, I hear you just fine. Thank you for calling in. What's on your mind?
Thanks for taking my call, man. I appreciate it. What's up, NoDQ Galaxy? I'm in the house, baby.
Yeah. How many times Super Chat champ now?
Oh, I lost count, man. Over 20, but there's one guy that's got me beat for sure. I can't think of his name, but I'm definitely up there.
Yeah, Ken Terminated by Google, I think, is like 32 times champion.
Oh, man, he's setting Guinness World Records. I'm telling you, man.
He might.
That guy, he needs his own title to be like.
He needs
the most reigning champ. Yeah, he's definitely double Ric Flair at least.
He needs his own wing in the No DQ Hall of Fame.
Absolutely. Hall of Fame, No DQ for sure, man.
Anyways, what's on your mind?
Okay, I got two parts. I'll try to make this as fast as possible. The first thing, with the whole Bray Wyatt ordeal, I'm not understanding why everybody's so upset like he's getting buried and they're not booking him properly. I have no problem with how they're booking him, actually, Aaron. The Hell in a Cell match, you know, he's pretty much no-selling all of Seth's offense. So it's like, even though he's not really getting a whole lot of offense in, everything that Seth is doing to him, he's pretty much no-selling everything. So,
right.
To me, that's protecting Bray. What do you think?
Well, I think what pissed people off the most was just the fact that Hell in a Cell is supposed to be, you know, fight to the finish and no stoppage and no shenanigans, no cheap finishes to not have somebody beat somebody else. So I think people are more mad about that than anything else. You know, I think if Bray ended up winning that match, I think the whole 12 curb stomps or whatever, I think that people would have said that this is, you know, excessive. But I think people wouldn't have been quite as angry if Bray had just won the championship. But I mean, it would have killed Seth's finisher dead. I think that's another issue that people have, like where, you know, he shouldn't be hitting 12 of them. Really, he should just be hitting one, Bray kicks out, and then Bray beats him, and that's it. I think people just didn't like how excessive everything was. And then on top of that, the match just got stopped when it's supposed to be, you know, a decisive winner or whatnot.
Right. Well, you gave Brock Lesnar like 3 or 4 curb stops, so I guess they figure since they gave Brock that many curb stops, it's okay to use more than one, I guess, so to speak. But I don't know. Again, man, I feel like they protected Bray. And so everybody was saying pretty much you'll be taking the title off a step too soon. It'll be too soon for the Fiend to win the title. So I guess that's the way to protect Bray by having that kind of screwy finish or whatever.
Right. Well, I said on the previous video that they should have just not booked the match in the first place if they weren't going to have Bray win the title. But that's just my take on it.
Right. Okay, so now on to the main event, as Virtue like to call it, the main event of the evening.
All right. Sounds good.
Tyson Fury, Braun Strowman. I mean, are you kidding me here? Are we really going to do this with the whole boxer coming into WWE and getting the big payday and looking good, going into his match in February? He's got a rematch with Wilder in February, so you know he's going to be protected big time.
Yeah, well...
So it's like, Go ahead, Aaron.
I was just gonna say, if Tyson Fury beats him, I mean, it's gonna suck to be Braun Strowman.
Right. I mean, he's not intimidating to me at all. I mean, I really don't see the big deal about this guy. I mean, you're giving the guy a big payday, $12 million. So there's the rumor he's getting paid
Right.
for this one match. So it's like, here we go with the Big Show and Floyd. Well, at least the Big Show Floyd Money Mayweather is a real name. I mean, who is this guy, Tyson Fury? I mean, he's a heavyweight champion of boxing, sure enough. But now, it's probably what's going to happen is Braun Strowman is going to probably job to Tyson Fury. And then now we're stuck having to watch Braun Strowman losing to him and have to watch him week to week while Tyson Fury goes on and does his thing and get all the rub for his win.
Yeah.
That's BS to me, man. I'm mad about that.
I mean, it's
know.
pretty stupid.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't see how this is going to go over very well. I mean, maybe Braun does beat him and Tyson's willing to put him over, but man, I mean, I don't know.
They're going to protect him, Aaron, because he has a rematch coming with Wilder in February. So even him walking to the ring is like they're scared about that. Promoters do not want to see Tyson Fury get hurt before his big rematch.
Yeah, I mean,
so
they might do like a quick 5-minute match, just do something quick. And I don't know. That's a great question because I don't know what you do that's going to be satisfying to the majority of people. Like, I feel like it's a no-win scenario. So in that case, I say, why book the match in the first place if you can't think of a good finish that's going to satisfy people? Like, I just don't know what it is for this. So, yeah, I mean, that's a very valid question there. And
I got one idea, Aaron, before I let you go.
Sure thing.
And I got one idea. The only thing you can do really is have somebody like the Revival come out and say, hey, you're not a wrestler. You're not part of WWE. And they can get mad and do like turn into some type of tag match. And then, they both can like knock out the Revival and they can like, both celebrate that way. I guess that could be a finish you can do. Have an interruption. But, and they can tag instead of going one-on-one. But that's it, man. Really?
Yeah, I mean, they may end up doing that, and people might be upset about that because they're like, well, you built up this big singles match, and then you have, interference from the Revival, and then Strowman and Fury are friends, so it's like, what was the point of all of it? But yeah, I mean, that might be the least of the evils. That might be the best way to go when all things are considered.
Right. Hey, Aaron, thanks a lot for taking my call, brother. You're doing a great job. I know I've been MIA, but I'm coming back with a Fury, no pun intended.
All right, well, thank you so much for the call.
Shout out to NoDQ Galaxy guys. I love you guys. Keep up the good work. NoDQ Review, Virtue, TJS. You guys are doing a great job. Keep it up, man. I'm done. Appreciate it, Aaron.
Appreciate it very much. Have a great rest of your day.
Thanks, man.
All right, take it easy. All right, that was DJ, one of the NoDQ faithful. Very much appreciated. Tommy with a $2 super chat says, where's Greg Cherry and the Wrestling Trivia Challenge? # Kyle Day. Greg ran out of opponents, bottom line. Greg beat everybody, and, Greg has issued challenges to people on Twitter and anybody that wants to step up, but nobody has stepped up. So, not much we can do with Wrestling Trivia Challenge when Greg is pretty much unbeatable. The only people that have come close, Greg already beat them in rematches. So, we got to get some fresh blood if we're going to keep it going. If anybody out there thinks they could beat Greg, and not just think, but you got to be more than just thinking. You got to be really confident that you could beat Greg. Email me. Email Greg or tweet Greg, and let's set something up. Manuel says, do you still do cat videos? Yes, I do. YouTube.com/Aaron Rift, my personal channel. Got cat videos up on there, and I still post some on occasion. Tommy with a $2 super chat says, Stefan wants a shot. Let's make it happen. All right, well, have them email us, and we'll get it going. It's the Costanza says, Monster versus Greg. Again, Monster, we've laid down the challenge, and don't know if I don't think he really has interest in doing it, but if he wants to do it, we will absolutely 100% get it set up. So, gotta see if he actually wants to do it or not. But I know Greg wants it for sure. And Jeremy, I will get to your question here shortly. Let me. All right, Power Packers 90's calling in, so let's take this call here. Power Packers, how's it going?
It's going good, Aaron. I just got off of work and, I'm watching football and I'm enjoying some of this can of bubbly.
All right. Well, I know you and Virtue have been at odds a little bit. And just so you guys know, Virtue is trolling you guys. When he's on Twitter and Facebook and in the chat room, he's got his gimmick. His gimmick is to call everybody a mark. And if you disagree with anything that he says, you're a mark and an idiot. So just keep in mind, Virtue's playing a heel character on you guys. I know some people get worked by it, but that's his whole shtick. Anyways, Power Packers, what's on your mind?
Yeah, that's no problem. I mean, with him and Rob, we go back and forth, but we're wrestling fans. We all love wrestling,
Absolutely.
You don't agree with me? That's fine. And if I don't agree with them, that's also fine. We all love wrestling. We should all enjoy and embrace wrestling no matter what it is.
Exactly.
First, I want to mention when I was at work, something really funny that happened was I saw a family of wrestling fans. The dad was wearing an AEW hoodie. The kid was wearing like a Seth Rollins t-shirt. I went up to him going, hey, you getting ready for a Bound for Glory party tonight? And the dad literally said, is that still a thing?
Huh. Nice.
And then I asked the kid, well, who's your favorite wrestler? Setting him up for Seth because he's wearing the shirt. And he gives me a thumbs up and says Orange Cassidy.
Oh, wow. Did he give like a real thumbs up or like the somewhat thumbs up?
I think he tried to do that, but then it looked like it kind of. Let's say it that way.
Yeah.
He gave me a thumbs up.
Yeah, I like oranges that are like somewhat of a thumbs up.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I just want to ask the question because I know your last caller mentioned Bray, and if he loses, which is 99.9% going to happen, how is this going to make him look like on SmackDown that he lost? I'm using quotations here. 2 straight pay-per-view matches in a row against Seth Rollins.
I mean, we'll see. I really think that WWE should just go all the way with Bray, and it should have happened at Hell in a Cell. And if it doesn't happen at the pay-per-view, I don't know what's next for him. They've taken away the whole Firefly Funhouse apparently with Seth burning it down. So I don't know if they're going to get cold feet on the character. Maybe Fox just doesn't think it's sports-like enough. I mean, what's weird is they wanted Bray, if you believe the reports, they wanted Bray on SmackDown, but then it's looking like he's not doing the Firefly Funhouse anymore. And I do remember when I was at SmackDown in LA, you had the Fox executives at ringside, and when Bray was doing the Firefly Funhouse, they all seemed very confused as to what was going on, and they were like, huh? So I wonder if they're just not feeling it and maybe it's going to get watered down. The whole thing is just really, I don't know what WWE is doing here because we all know that this is something that has potential and it's been arguably the hottest character in WWE the past year and they could actually make a superstar. The problem with WWE right now is that there hasn't really been a major star made in a long time. And guys have been on the verge of getting there, like Braun Strowman and Bray Wyatt, and then WWE just drops the ball with them. And I ultimately think that's why we haven't had a boom period in wrestling because there hasn't been that major league star since really John Cena and maybe Roman Reigns, but he's not even been at John Cena's level. And yeah, we just haven't seen it in WWE. So, yeah, I think Bray should win. But like you said, I'll believe it when I see it.
Yeah. I can't see the Fiend character going over. If they didn't want Aleister Black on the show because of his tattoos, I don't know how the Fiend's going to work over there.
Yeah, it's really mind-boggling to me. But anyways, thank you so much for your call. Anything you would like to plug or promote?
Sure. I got LR4 Legacy Rangers Forever, our podcast. We're doing that tonight on YouTube, and also, check us out on Spotify. The Spider-Man/Marvel podcast I do called The Marvel Enthusiast. So if you're a fan of Marvel movies, comics, TV show, video games, check us out. We're on Spotify and iTunes and all those places, and that's about it.
All right. Well, thank you so much for the call. I really do appreciate it.
No problem. And I'm coming back for that belt one of these days.
All right. Sounds good. So to the current champion, who is DJ Mike, you are now on notice.
You're on the list.
He's on the list. All right. Take care, my friend.
You too, man.
All right. Bye. That was Power Packers 90. Got another question here from Hardcore Casual Fan. Saying, is it fair to say that SmackDown was the closest to mainstream attention that any wrestling show has been in the last decade? I definitely think that it was. Yeah, for sure. And I was surprised that the number was as high as it was. I was predicting lowball. I predicted like 2.8 million for the Fox debut, and they did 3.8 million. So it just goes to show that Fox, the publicity for it and the hype, did bring in the viewers. The Rock probably brought in some viewers. Brock Lesnar being advertised, winning the WWE title. All that stuff got mainstream attention. It definitely happened. But unfortunately, it could not keep those people watching. And SmackDown has already lost 1.4 million viewers in 2 weeks, which is not a good sign. And I mean, I figured the numbers would eventually get back to what they were doing on USA Network, maybe slightly higher, but I didn't think it would happen this fast. And next week it's on FS1 SmackDown, and I would not be shocked if it does like 2 million viewers. And then next week after that, it goes back to maybe 2.2 or 2.3, and that's where it settles. Hopefully Fox is happy with those numbers. I know the demographic numbers, 18 to 49, that's what's the most important number. So we'll see if Fox is happy with those numbers or not long term. But yeah, I'm not really surprised though that they dropped as much as they did. But yeah, WWE did get some publicity for the debut. So, Fox has been, to Fox's credit, Fox has really been dedicated to promoting WWE and trying to get more people watching. But ultimately, you need a stronger product to keep those people around, and just hyping up isn't going to cut it. And then got this question here from Paul Jackson. Happy Pants 729 says, what are your thoughts on Randy Orton challenging The Rock for WrestleMania? I think it was a nice try by Randy Orton, but clearly The Rock has got other things going on, and wrestling is not a priority at this point. And poor Randy pretty much got turned down, and now we got Tommaso Ciampa calling out Randy Orton for a match. So maybe Ciampa and Randy Orton at WrestleMania. Who knows? But yeah, got to give Randy Orton credit for trying. Didn't work out for him, but hey, you gotta shoot your shot sometimes and go for it, even if you get rejected. That is a part of life. All right, let's get to these other Twitter questions here. So Robert says, any truth to the rumors that WWE could turn Sasha Banks babyface? I mean, I could see it happening, knowing WWE and how plans change seemingly on a week-to-week basis. And look at Dean Ambrose. His heel turn fizzled out, and would not shock me if Sasha went back to being a babyface in the near future, especially after losing. I mean, what do you do with Sasha now? I don't see her just being Bayley's lapdog. Maybe at some point Sasha feuds with Bayley for the championship. Because who's Bayley going to feud with? I mean, now that Charlotte's on Raw, like, what are you going to do? What are you going to do with Bayley as far as opponents go? So yeah, I could definitely see Sasha turning babyface sooner than later. Maybe not immediately, but before the end of the year, I mean, I could see her going back. And this one comes from Stephen East. Question for the stream. How long would you give AEW to settle in the groove and get over the honeymoon period? I mean, by the end of the year, it's definitely a work in process with AEW, and they are in this period where it's new and fresh, and maybe 3 or 4 months from now, people may start to think, well, this is starting to get boring and repetitive, but maybe AEW will be able to keep it fresh for a while, and right now it definitely feels like something different, and the shows have been very easy to watch. I think that the honeymoon period will last as long as AEW could put out a quality product. They may not draw the big crowds every single week, but we'll see. It's still early on. It's only 3 weeks in. There's plenty of time for AEW to develop and build the brand and create some new stars, and just got to give it time and see how it plays out. And Jeremy sent me this question also. Jeremy says, hey, Aaron, would you say AMW was the greatest tag team in TNA history? I wish TNA would bring back their old stars for a reunion show with all the originals like AMW, Naturals, Team Canada, Triple X, and others. WWE does its reunion shows all the time. Well, the problem with that is a lot of the names you mentioned, they're decent names in TNA history, but the real big guns, the AJ Styles people, Samoa Joe, Robert Roode, Daniels, Kazarian, they're all working for WWE or AEW. I agree with Mr. Anderson. I would probably go with Beer Money over AMW. I just think Roode and man, I'm blanking out on his name. Wow, James Storm. There we go. James Storm and Robert Roode is Beer Money, probably top tier tag team. I would go with them over AMW. Although AMW, they were definitely the top team of the early period of TNA. But I think Roode and Storm surpassed them a little bit as far as an act goes. Just I think overall they had more appeal, and they just fit better as a tag team, in my opinion. Had a little bit more chemistry as far as I'm concerned. All right, so I think I got through all the Twitter questions. So thank you, everyone, for sending in your Twitter questions. And looks like we got all the calls for this evening. So I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up. Thank you guys so much for tuning in and watching. I appreciate the viewership and support. Make sure you stay tuned to NoDQ.com for the very latest regarding the upcoming Full Gear pay-per-view, as well as everyone's favorite crown jewel. And follow me at Aaron Rift on Twitter, and also at NoDQ.com on all social media platforms. I will see you guys Monday night after Raw for another NoDQ recap. Take care, everybody.